where do you feel, or maybe it might be some of the same points, but I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but where do you see AI fitting into the operations at Smart Panda Labs over the next 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, truthfully, it is the same answer, right? So it's us using AI more behind the curtain, right? How does it help us kind of speed things up and move things more quickly? How does it help us automate certain functions, right, that need to happen on a consistent basis? Um, because we try to be very structured. So how do we leverage AI to help us to move through that structured process very quickly and easily, so that we're able to deliver more value to the client more quickly? It's not going to be in any way, form, or fashion AI replacing us. It's not going to be AI spitting out, copy, and then we copy and paste that AI, that copy and saying, here, here you go, right? That's not what we're about by any stretch of the imagination. Um, and other agencies are about that, and that's fine. I think, to be honest, I think part of the reason we're not about that is probably generational. Just a generation of myself and the other co-founders, right? And just like that's not our mentality. Um, but whatever the case is, I think it's gonna, and it has already, helped to kind of speed up a number of our processes.
Sure.
Um, but one of the key things that's important to us that we evangelize internally is, how do we provide parameters? How do we
Of
provide a
course.
framework to the AI, and not just kind of let it go and do what it wants to do, right? Search the internet randomly for sources that may or may not be credible, those kinds of things, right? How do we provide parameters around it, so that we're using it to do that within the framework that we provide, that's important for us as SPL.
And the final question,
Mhm.
um, again, I don't know why I'm stuck in tiers, but I think I like it because tiers is kind of makes sense, because who knows what's going to happen in the next 5, 10 years, the way everywhere is so volatile at the moment. So sticking with 2 years, where do you see, or rather put in this way, given the next 2 years, where do you see SPL, and what do you feel are maybe the two top things that perhaps are hamstringing you or slowing you down from getting to that point, in your opinion?
Whoa, that's a good question. Um, I think in the next 2 years, where do I see SPL and what's keeping us from getting there? I think in the next 2 years, I see us continuing to refine, our services based on where the market is telling us it needs us to deliver value. But again, doing that without sacrificing our brand and who we are and what we're about in our core, right? And what we're able to deliver on a more personal human level, and that aspect of what we do, right? So I can't say what our services will be 2 years from now, because, as you mentioned, things are moving so fast. But I want to know that our services will likely have evolved, because the market's evolving, and it's our job to evolve with it. So I'd like to see that we're evolving, and we're not just kind of like stuck in the muck, so to speak, and kind of being like, well, this is what we do, and this is the service we deliver, and that's it, and that's that, right? How does that evolve without our brand, being watered down in any way, form, or fashion? What's keeping us from doing it? I think it's just our continued focus to say, how do we do a better job of setting ourselves up to scale? And then how do we do a better job of then evangelizing SPL and what we're about and who we are, so that we can begin to get that influx in that pipeline, so that we can do a better job scaling? Again, we've had referrals and so forth, over the years and so forth, but I can't say that we've cracked the nut in terms of how we get a consistent pipeline of growth. So I think figuring that out is probably honestly, you said the two biggest things. That's probably the one big thing, that's kind of standing
Of
in our
course.
way of how do we grow the pipeline in a way that, again, is representative of us and our brand, without sacrificing that. And how do we find that proper balance? That's the trick.